Welcome to my channel. This is the first episode of Sketchbook Diaries and gonna do a speed paint for it so you can watch my process and my quick process. I was thinking of what this first episode would be and what I would talk about. And so I guess I can do like a little introduction of who I am and where I'm from and my goals. I am a 32-year-old artist. I'm self-taught and I've been doing it for a good chunk of my life, let's say 20 plus years. I had a 7-year hiatus where I took some time off. Living situation had changed. I moved, and the jobs that I was working, I started working in healthcare. So I was working 8 hours a day, which would leave me relatively tired because I was working second shift and a lot had been going on. So I really didn't have the motivation. I didn't have the energy to draw. And if you're an artist, you know that's very hard to do. And my block was it was a huge block. It was bigger than a block. It was a wall, just a wall of no inspiration, no motivation. And I missed it. I missed drawing. I missed creating. And I wasn't sure how to get back into it. And I used to post my art on Instagram a lot, but I had got a little discouraged because someone had admitted to me that they took a piece of my work, got it tattooed, and I just was a little bothered by that. And, you know, they claim that they gave me credit. They told the artist who it was, but I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I kind of got in my head about it. So I stopped posting my work. And that was like 7 years ago. All together with, you know, changing my living situation and moving and working constantly. And about 2 years, no, not 2 years ago, but I guess when COVID hit, I decided I no longer want to work in healthcare. I don't want to work for anyone particularly, at least in a traditional sense, because I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of toxic work environments. I'm tired of stress in these work environments. I'm tired of working in COVID. And I wanted to start my own business. And the first thing I started was making candles. And I don't know why I went with that. But as I was looking into it, things like sticker businesses popped up and illustrations. And I went down that nice little rabbit hole and found myself back into digital art, which is something I was doing a while back on I had I guess the first Wacom tablet, the little black one that didn't have a screen. It was like $60 something off of Amazon. You know, I had a whole DeviantArt account, and I was doing it a lot back then, and I had stopped, and I was watching these videos of people using the iPad to draw, Procreate, and I decided to start drawing again. And I would do some sketch work. I would use markers, but I wasn't really that good at it. For context, I never really worked with colors. Even when I first started digital art, it was a little hard for me. I never really learned the fundamentals, which it probably shows in my artwork. But as I'm giving myself that nice refresher, I'm starting to pick it up, starting to get the hang of it. It is a lot to learn, and I should not have waited this long to learn it. But back to getting back into digital art, and was looking into different tools and which tablets I should get, and I wasn't going to get the iPad because I'm like, who was paying for this? This is expensive. And yeah, you can do payment plans. I was just like, I'll just get a tablet because I had a laptop at the time. But that was difficult, very difficult to do because my laptop wasn't built for that type of power. It was small. It was the basic laptop you could use for taking notes, maybe watching a little bit of Netflix. No, anything that required heavy memory, it just wasn't working. And I ended up giving it as a gift to my nephew. But I have an iPhone, and you could use Procreate Pocket. And that was the one thing that I saw people use and really talk about, is really hyped up. Procreate. And I said, oh, well, they got a, phone app. Let me try it. And I was doing Procreate on the phone for like 3 months maybe. And it wasn't easy. Drawing on a phone, it's so small, and like these stylus pens it does not hit right. But I figured it out, and I was doing it, and I was making these really good art pieces, and I used really good digital art pieces. And as a gift, my boyfriend bought me the iPad Pro because he, I guess, was so moved by me getting back into art. He is a huge supporter of me as an artist. So he got it for me, and I have been on it nonstop. I have been basically just practicing on a constant basis. And I'm not gonna lie, quick review of this thing. I can see the hype. I can see why people literally rave about it. There are lots of other tablets I've seen out there. And I'm sure they're all good. Affordability wise, I'd rather pay a payment plan for this than get one of them Cintiqs, because Lord, that is expensive. Those Cintiqs are like, I think the cheapest one is like, what, $1,000? I could be wrong. I've seen it run for $3,000, and I think that's a lot. But again, if you're doing like heavy duty art, I guess go for it. But starting over, for me, myself, I think the iPad is perfect. I have no complaints. Review aside, I've been trying to find my style. This is me somewhat getting there on what I like. I am very heavily influenced by comic book style art, and not like, I do like Marvel and I do like DC, but I like kind of more of a stylized version. A good example would be, if you've ever read the Hellboy comics or the Umbrella Academy, the way that art is, that's what catches my eye. And I don't know if I want to be a comic book artist. I don't know. I'm not there yet. I'm still deciding if I want to be independent or freelance. In my head tells me freelance, because freelance, you get the money. But in my heart says, you need to be independent. I need to be able to do my own thing, work my own projects. And I'm realizing now that may be a little bit harder to do, because I'm going to have to go at it at a different angle, which would be create art content. And if you can't tell, I'm a little nervous. This is my first official full YouTube video, and I'm doing it like this because, again, nervous. I'm not quite comfortable with people looking at my face, and I hope to one day get to a place where it'll all look aesthetically pleasing, and I'll have my face and my mic and everything. But for now, I hope you like the speed paint. I think that I'm growing as an artist. I think that once I get the kinks out of my technique and my style, I don't ever think I'll be perfect. I think that I'll always be learning, because that's the thing about being an artist. You're always learning, you're always growing. There's always different styles and techniques you can learn. And I'm that person that's like, I like my life on easy mode. So if there's a way for me to do something that's quicker, I want to know it. Especially with this digital art thing, because if you do digital art, you know that it can be very time consuming. It's a lot. There's a lot of layers. And that's also why I'm like a huge, I can't say this because it's cursing, but I'm huge writer for Procreate because it's not overwhelming. There's not a lot of different buttons like Photoshop or like Clip Studio Paint. It's pretty simple in its interface, and the more I use it, the more I'm like, what's another way that I can do this and get done quicker and still produce exceptional work? I love using Multiply. I love using this little S fill thing, even though I'm still kind of getting that, kind of learning how to like use it. Everything's still a learning curve. But I think I'm getting there. One thing that I have been noticing that I've been struggling with a little bit is hair. If you notice, a lot of my work is Black centered. I'm a Black artist. So I've been trying to figure out how to draw Black hair. And it's not that it's hard, but for some reason, I'm getting stuck in a place where I don't think that I'm not doing what I see in my head. And I get references and I look at different artists to see how they do it. And when I try to recreate it, it's just not hitting. And I know there are brush tools that you can buy to do Afro hair, but I just want to learn it real quick. I just want to be able to draw it myself before I feel like, all right, let's go the easy route. Let's get the brush. But I've also gotten this place where, I don't want to buy any more brushes. I've bought some brushes from some other artists and found out that I don't really like them too much for line work. I actually use the regular ink tool, the studio pen that comes with Procreate. I adjusted it a little bit to make it a little bit more, to stabilize a little bit more. And I use a 6B pencil. I don't get too fancy with any of this. But this, I believe for this, I used one of the brushes that I had bought. And then I think both with the sketch and the line work, it was with a brush that I bought. I am much more happier with the way this came out. But again, the hair was just giving me just a hard time. I'm trying to get it right. And since I want the majority of my work to be Black centered, I want to do it right. Especially when it comes to rendering, when I go in for the coloring, I want to shade it. I want to light it right. I want the texture to look nice. I want it to all flow. And I'm not good at shading. I don't know if it shows. I don't know if I'm faking it good enough. But lighting and shading has been kicking my butt. And I've looked at maybe over... I've looked at a lot of videos on how to learn, and I know that I like simple lighting and shading. I don't like too much blending, because me personally, for my eyes, I don't like looking at that. I like it very subtle. I like it very direct. I don't like different types of shading in different areas and different type of lighting in different areas, though I know that's possible because of the way I want my style to be. I don't want different types of lighting, if that makes sense. I wish I could show an example, but I also don't know how to add different images onto the screen while I'm doing this. So sorry, I can't explain it any better than that. But I have been watching the artists that I do like and kind of just looking at references to get somewhat of an idea. And what I do is you'll see where, I guess, between your eyes and your nose, that space, and then where the cheeks are, I go for lighting in those particular places. One thing I always do is get a nice black shade under the chin on the neck because that's my thing. I just adds like a pop. But for other shading, I'll take the purple tip when you're doing shading. You don't want to use black. For under the neck, it's fine because that's just a style preference. But as for other parts of the character, or if you're doing background scenery, whatever, use purple. And then you can use, I like to go through the tools. Multiply is probably your best bet. And then you just lower the opacity on that. Or you can use linear burn or color burn. That all depends, but don't use purple. Don't use black. Use purple. And for lighting, don't use white. I like colors for lighting, so I'll pick like a very bright neon pink, neon yellow, and then, or blue, and I'll run down the colors, and it's typically soft overlay, or I'll use a regular overlay or add. And those kind of add like that nice extra pop to your piece. So as I was doing this piece, I was thinking about what I wanted to convey, what I wanted to show. I always think about, do I want it to look a little realistic? Do I want it to look more stylized? And I kept thinking about like the comics that I like the Archie comics, and kind of going with that. I still struggle with what I should do as far as lips. Should I leave them? Should I color them? How should I show character for the lips? And I'm always in a slump. I'm always undecided. And I know that the speed paint is going faster than what I'm actually talking about. But, right here is something I love doing. And it's a nice little trick you can do, especially with eyes. Because when you draw, sometimes one eye and one eyebrow is different from the other. You can draw it out, take that little S tool, do the freehand, cut and paste, and then duplicate it. And when you bring it to the other side, just flip it, and you'll have the exact same drawing of what you needed. That way it's even. You could always use, I guess it's the drawing assist. I've used it once. I don't care for it. I think that's only good when you're doing like a front facing piece where the whole thing is just facing forward. It's just looking. The head isn't tilted. It's not to the side. It's not doing anything. It's just what's standing straight pose, very, very aligned. Or if you're doing something that's like a design, I see no purpose in using it when I'm doing characters, because I want to do things that are a little bit more dynamic, have a little bit more gesture to them, and it's not a helpful tool. So you really can't, all you just got to do is just duplicate that bad boy, just copy and paste it, flip it horizontally, vertically, whatever you needed to do. So here's the lips. I always want to get colors that complement brown skin tones. I don't think I'll always do this, but something about bright red or bright pink, I always have to be mindful because I do not want it to look, what's the word? I don't want to say it, but if you know, you know. I don't want it to look like those types of pictures because that's not what I'm going for. Yes, you can have bright colors on dark skin, but when it comes to doing pieces like this and projects like this, I don't want them looking like the guy from Dragon Ball Z. That drives me up a wall, honestly. His whole character design drives me up a wall, and I know people will argue back and forth that no, it's not racist, but it feels very intentionally racist to me. I don't know about anyone else. I don't like that character design. I see a lot of character designs in the anime, which is also why I'm really focused on making sure that my characters, my Black characters, express what I need them to express and do not look characterish, because there's always that fine line, and in anime it's crossed a lot. I've also seen regular artists cross it. I've seen it on Instagram, and on one hand I'm like, oh, this is nice, and then on the other hand I'm like, wait a minute, I don't like this. I feel uncomfortable. You got to be careful with Black characters, in my opinion. You got to, because then it looks really caricaturish, and I don't personally like caricature art in general. I think it's weird. That's my personal opinion. People love it. People like it. I was never that person that wanted a street drawing of myself because I didn't like the way they did it. I didn't like the art. I guess I'm snobby in that sense. But I think all in all that I'm getting to where I want to be as far as my basic style. I'm still doing portraits. I'm still practicing profiles. I guess I do a lot of side profiles because I want to get that down before I deep dive, jump into action poses and backgrounds and gestures and really intricate pieces. And it's not that I'm not confident, I'm not comfortable. I just want to get this down. And it's been almost a year that I've been practicing and learning and refreshing my skills, learning new skills. I shouldn't even say refresh because, again, I'm self-taught, but I never taught myself the fundamentals like anatomy, composition, color theory, perspective, background. I never really taught myself that. I never really learned that. And I think that's what hindered me in a lot of things. I think that's what really affected my confidence before, because I could do it, but it showed that something was a little off, something was missing. I'm not getting the right movement of the character down. I'm not getting the right perspective of the scene down. And the more I feel that I practice and learn, I think that I'll finally get to a place where I can move on. By the way, that lighting was horrible. I actually just learned now how to use that smudge tool. I was struggling with that smudge tool, really struggling on blending because I was not sure. I was trying to figure out how to do this and it wasn't working. So after 50 tries, go on over to YouTube and then finally figured out what I was doing wrong. So the most recent piece that I did, it actually looks a whole lot better. I actually was able to do it. And but this piece is actually pretty good. I was very happy on how it turned out. it got the point across of what I wanted. I wanted it to look a little bit more of the style that I'm looking for. I wanted it to look a little bit more, not really cartoonish. I guess it's still kind of stylized, but it's so funny because when I started, I've always said I want to do anime style, I want to do manga style, and here I am doing a style that I didn't think that I would end up doing. But I'm glad that I am finally here to have a piece that I'm proud of and get my motivation back and my confidence back. And I think within another year, I can probably do it. Will probably be able to do this full time. In another year, hopefully. That is the plan. That is the goal. That is one of my goals, to be able to do this independently, make a living off my art full time. And for anyone who is looking to do this, be an artist, have a career in art, you know, everyone's journey takes its own time. Mine took a good amount of time. Better late than never. I do and don't have regrets. I feel like I should have never got in my head, but I know that I'm happy to know, not happy, but I'm glad I'm not alone in feeling like my art isn't good enough. I'm glad I'm not alone in feeling that imposter syndrome happens to everyone, even the professionals. And I'm also happy to know that people do make a living off of bad art. Like, people do. Not saying, you know, my art is bad, or art is subjective, but if you think your art is bad, if you think you're not good enough, trust me, you are, because there are some artists out here who are making the big bucks, and it's not my thing, not my jam. If it's yours, that's fine too. But it's all on how your confidence in yourself. So I really hope that this channel can grow, and I can grow as an artist and create more content with a little bit more pizzazz, because I feel like I was all over the place in this one, but that's fine, because I kind of wanted this one to be a little bit about me. Even though it was a little chaotic, sprinkle in some of my goals and aspirations, and talk a smidge about what I was doing, even though I couldn't keep up because of the speed paint. But also what I wanted to add is something I enjoy doing, is doing those little hatch marks. I never used to do that before. Sorry. I never used to do that before. I would see other people do, and I thought it was always cool, but I was never really sure on how to do and where to do it. But what has been helping me also with shading is popping that in, because it helps me see a more rounded features. It's not necessary. You don't have to do it. If you're looking to help yourself with shading, lighting and shading, you don't have to color in grayscale, but you could use a color. And that's something I've also been kind of working on as far as my style is basing my colors, the colors that I pick for my piece, on the background color, and I will color over that. But I am happy that I've actually come this far, and I'm so excited for all the things I want to just create and all the things I want to talk to you about and bring you on my journey. So thanks for listening, and I hope you like, share, and subscribe. Even if you don't subscribe, if you just like and share, everything is appreciated. And I can't wait till the next video. So, thanks.